if you have been following BG Volleyball across social media or following us as well, you'll know that the team has changed greatly since the MAC championship game at the end of last year. Some bitter feelings about that game. It was good that we got there, tough that we lost. But Chaz, why don't you talk about a little bit about what we did last year in conference, out of conference, and especially in that MAC championship?
I'd be happy to. So last season was an emotional roller coaster, and that might even be an understatement. You had the injury to Petra Androva at the start of the year. Then in conference play, Falcons ended up going 11-7. But they had 2 5-game winning streaks with a 6-game losing streak in between. It was very hot and cold. And finishing out, they were 19-13 overall. Just managed to squeak in the MAC tournament as the 6th seed. But then they got in that tournament, got pretty hot, beat Ball State in 5, then swept Buffalo to reach a Western Michigan team that was undefeated in the regular season and ended up going undefeated in tournament play. They lost in 5 sets. That was a heartbreaking loss, but the Falcons managed to get there. It was a very strong end of the season, and that MAC season was a very solid one. They were 3rd in the MAC in hitting percentage, and points per set, they also had 252 that is, blocks, and a hitting percentage allowed just over 200. So a very stingy defensive team mixed with a pretty high-power offense.
Adding to that, having the most aces in the league with almost 230. They were top 5 in the MAC in nearly every single statistic if you look at the MAC stats from last year. And yet, as we said, they still finished the 6th seed. And it was mainly due to that hot and cold nature of the team. Essentially, story of the season was a 5-game win streak, a 6-game losing streak, and another 5-game win streak. Got them into the 6th seed. But it's always tough to think what could have happened if they hadn't been so hot and cold. The impact players for the Falcons last year, Lauren Hovey, the opposite hitter, is a junior this year. She had 601 points, 500 kills, a 302 hitting percentage, and 60 aces. She did a great job of filling the void of Petra Androva's career and season-ending injury. Amanda Otten, the setter, had 152 points, 134 kills, 257 assists, and is going to be the main setter this year. It may have sounded like she didn't have that much of an impressive year, but she did get an injury on October 10th and did not play any of the season after that. So BG's success happened without arguably their second best player behind Lauren Hovey. Additionally, over the offseason, Alexis Mattil announced she will be returning for her 5th year. She is a middle blocker alongside Jessica Andrews, a junior. Last year they combined in the middle for 338 points, 230 kills, and 159 blocks, a certifiable wall in the center for the Falcons. Mia Tyler, another outside hitter, 303 kills, 38 digs, and 322 points in 2023. And last but not least, and maybe most importantly, Lindsay LaPinta, the libero, 242 digs, 946 reception percentage in 2023. She's filling the void of Alex LeBoy, and based on what I've heard from coaches, she's going to do a great job of it. But Chaz, we had an article come out talking about the personnel of this year. A lot of new names and some pretty strong names. So why don't you talk about a couple of the newcomers coming this year, both freshmen and upperclassmen?
That's right. Out of the 18 total players on this 2024 Falcons volleyball team, 9 are essentially newcomers. You look at some of the more notable names. You have Jordan Newblatt, 5th year, comes over, transfers from Marist College. She had 309 kills last year and 329 total points. That's a big scorer. On top of that, Edita Voswachik, who was dealing with an injury all of 2023, didn't get to see her. She has been a very big name, just a redshirt freshman actually, going into her 2nd year. Paige Parlanti, another name that could be a very big one at outside hitter. There's a lot of youth, but also they brought in a couple names, some transfers, that'll make it really interesting to see how well they mesh together. Just a couple more names here. You've got Catherine Iger, you've got Avery Anders, Sydney Hernandez, who showed their face during the exhibition that we saw against Oakland not quite a week ago. That was on Saturday. And it seemed like everybody got some time to shine, and it seemed like everybody did show out during that scrimmage. So it'll be interesting to see how they play out through the season, the new and the old meshing together.
a lot of newcomers we just mentioned. We saw mostly all of them in that exhibition match against Oakland a week ago Saturday. Especially, you mentioned Eigner, Anders, and Hernandez at the defensive specialist position. They played a lot of time, and they were very strong. So it's nice to know that Lindsay LaPinta will have some backup in case of injury plaguing the Falcons like they did last year. Coaches are going to have some tough decisions. And in a coaching staff that is now the longest tenured coaching staff in MAC volleyball. Daniela Tomic as the head coach, Ali Cook as an assistant, and Alex Del Piamo as another assistant. They've been together since 2017 as a crew. They're 99-24 since then, with a few MAC championships to claim during that time. We mentioned the Oakland game last week. We did write down the starters in that game, although there was no official stats keeping, given that it was an exhibition or a scrimmage match. Anna Schitek, the setter, started instead of Amanda Otten. She did not dress. We don't know whether that was because of injury or another reason. But Schitek did outstanding, I think. She looked like a very strong backup to Otten in case something happens to Otten or you just want to change of blood in the order. Jessica Andrews started at the middle blocker position. Jordan Newblatt as an outside hitter. Mia Tyler as an outside hitter. Lauren Hovey as an opposite. Alexis Mattil as a middle blocker. And Lindsay LaPinta as the libero in for Jessica Andrews to start the game. So a very strong lineup. The only newcomer that we can expect from the lineup today to be Jordan Newblatt, but with Daniela Tomic, you never know. She likes to put in players that do the best they can, not necessarily the player that you would expect to be in the lineup. So we will step aside for a quick minute. When we bring you back, we'll talk about the Chicago State Cougars and maybe some other fun things that are happening in the Stroh Center tonight on 88.1 WBGU. Welcome back to the Stroh Center, where we have the second game of the Best Western Invitational here in Bowling Green, Ohio. The first game was an Illinois over Cincinnati win. Now we have Bowling Green versus Chicago State, the home opener for Bowling Green in 2024. I am Ben Korak, joined by Chaz McNeil from the Falcon Media Sports Network. We're going to run you through real quick the Chicago State Cougars, who have only met the Falcons in the regular season one time in volleyball history. It was in 2005. I have some stats here on what was occurring in 2005, the last time that Chicago State met Bowling Green. So Daniela Tomic, head coach for the Falcons, started her first of 6 seasons coaching Florida International. 6 Falcons and 1 Cougar were less than 1 year old in 2005. YouTube and Google Maps had just been launched. George W. Bush was president. Revenge of the Sith and Harry Potter Goblet of Fire had just debuted. Batman Begins had just debuted as well. Chaz, you were 2 years old. And Chaz, I was 3 months old the last time Chicago State played Bowling Green in competition. So that just goes to show it's been a long time since these two teams have played each other, and we don't really know what to expect.
That's right. This is kind of something that you don't see a whole lot, where it's been so long since two teams have really matched up. 2005 is a long time, nearly 2 decades. If they had waited one more year for this matchup, it would have been 2 decades. But this Chicago State team is focusing on the future. They had, in 2023, they had a pretty good season. They went 13-9, and this was a Chicago State team functioning as an independent, didn't really have any conference to fall back on, no conference opponents. They took on some of the best of the best. They faced a MAC team, Northern Illinois, and they managed to beat them both times, 3-2 the first time, 3-1 the second time, and then when they went to invitational tournaments, that's another time they got hot. They went 2-3 in both of their first 2 invitationals, and maybe their biggest claim to fame, while it was a loss, they took West Virginia to 5 sets, battling with a Big 12 team. They also had a couple sweeps on their record. They swept Western Illinois twice and swept Hartford twice. So Chicago State, one of those teams that, while they're not in the conference, they don't have any conference championships since they left in 2022, they still have a pretty solid resume. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do moving forward.
Looking at their schedule as well, a lot of 3-0 sweeps from one team and a lot of 3-0 sweeps from Chicago State themselves. So kind of a hot, cold team, just in much shorter scale, like we said about Bowling Green. Because there was no conference stats for Chicago State. But in the total on the year, they had 120 more kills than opponents, 132 more assists, 25 more aces, 115 more digs, and 8 more blocks than their opponents. So they just simply outplayed their opponents in 2023. However, they had a couple of key losses. Leading attacker Yanlis Feliz is gone. They led it in kills by over 120 with 220 digs and 40 blocks. Also lost Masalina Severino, who scored 150 points, 85 blocks, and was one of the most consistent hitters on the team. However, they did bring back some very strong players. They brought back Victoria Zagumna, who led in assists last year with 778 and service aces with 29. She was also third in digs with 184 and third in blocks with 44. She is a sophomore setter and essentially the heart of the team, and has been since she was a freshman last year. And then last but not least, maybe the strongest and most powerful player in the green and navy for Chicago State is Patricia Wagida. 226 points, 193 kills, 25 service aces, 100 digs, and 14 blocks in 2023. She did it all. She did it very well, and she'll be very fun to watch when it comes to this game and across the rest of the year. So we'll step aside for a quick second from talking about both teams, and let's talk about what's under both teams, Chaz, because it's some very exciting news for BG Volleyball and just for Bowling Green in general.
That's right. Just about 2 weeks ago today, there was some very exciting news that was announced. John and Mo Stansbury, who are alumni of BGSU, they are one of the big hearts of the Falcon Volleyball team. They have shown their love and support for Bowling Green. They decided that they would donate a brand new TerraFlex court to the Falcons, and this court is absolutely beautiful. Just now it looks an orange and brown finish. Got a brown, it's orange on the outside with white Falcon lettering around it and white taping, if you will, with a hardwood floor in the center style. And this TerraFlex floor, and here's I can't do it justice. Let me give you a statement from BG Athletics. With its unparalleled durability and enhanced shock absorption properties, the TerraFlex floor is designed to optimize player performance while minimizing the risk of injury, ensuring that athletes can compete at the highest level with confidence. That is a massive statement. This is a performance-enhancing floor, something that will go a long way for helping rehab with injuries. It's not as taxing on the knees, the joints, all of that. This is also one of the first, the Falcons are the first team in the MAC to actually get a court like this. So it immediately ups the facilities. On top of that, it's one of those things that it's going to try and help reduce injuries, and it's just a really exciting thing for the Falcons. And you can see it in the student section right to the right of us, Ben. A lot of the students wearing shirts that say "Thank you, Mo and John," with on the back a drawing of the court. So everybody very excited for this donation and excited for the future of the Falcons.
It is very exciting, Chad, and to be frank, the court is simply gorgeous. That orange and the brown, it's like a rustic brown interior. We thank every one of you for listening to BG Volleyball from home, but we also encourage you to come to the Stroh Center and watch a game, if nothing else, just to see the court. It's beautiful, and hopefully across the season and across today as well, many of the hits from the orange and brown find the orange and brown TerraFlex court today and across the season. But we, as FMSN broadcasters, are unveiling something else quite exciting and very new. So if you follow any professional leagues, it is quite common for broadcasters to play a little game in a pick'em format in the pregame. So we are calling ours the Watch Out Player, and essentially how it works is we, Chaz and I, and our superiors, Lucas Kleinmeyer, the sports director, and Tyler Kavlitz, the production director, pick a player from the team, a player to watch out for you guys at home and for us as well. And essentially they accumulate points based on the stats that they get across the game. So a half a point per kill, a half a point per assist, 1 point per ace, 1 point for block, and a half a point per dig. They accumulate them across the entire game. At the end of the game, we add them all up. The players that we choose are the amount of points that we gain, and whoever wins gets a tally mark next to their name, and at the end of the season we might have some sort of prize for whoever chooses the most watch out players for the entire year. So Lucas Kleinmeyer and Tyler Kavlitz are not here with us today, but we will convey their picks. Tyler Kavlitz, the production director for FMSN, chose Lauren Hovey, as we mentioned, one of the strongest players, if not the strongest player for Bowling Green. Lucas Kleinmeyer, sports director, chose Mia Tyler, a very powerful outside hitter. Great pick from Lucas. Chaz, you picked Alexis Mattil. Can you walk us through that pick?
Yes, I did. Alexis Mattil is one of those players that we mentioned, a returner, middle blocker, and as you mentioned before, as you mentioned before, Ben, one of the big names to watch out for Chicago State, Patricia Wakita. She is a scorer. You're going to need some blocks. You're going to need a big body up in the middle, putting the ball down, and that's what Mattil, I believe, will do.
And I chose Jordan Newblatt, a newcomer for Bowling Green. I think it's going to be a strong pick. It's her first game in the orange and brown, not counting the exhibition match. I would expect her to start, but we don't have the starting lineups yet. So when we get that back to you, hopefully all of these players and the rest of Bowling Green does a very good job today and gains their first win of the season against Chicago State. So we will step aside for a few minutes. When we come back, we'll bring you First Serve on this gorgeous Friday night on 88.1 WBGU.
BGSU men's soccer looks to stay hot as they travel west to battle IU Indianapolis on Friday, August 30th at 7 p.m. Falcon Media Sports Network will have a recap of the battle only on bgfalconmedia.com.
Start your day with WBGU FM and Early Bird Oldies. Tune in to Northwest Ohio's community radio station weekdays from 4 to 6 a.m. for classic hit music from decades past. Enjoy all the golden oldies you remember and stick around for local community news and entertainment with The Morning Show. Early Bird Oldies, broadcast weekdays from 4 to 6 a.m. on Northwest Ohio's community radio station, WBGU 88.1 FM.
Dad, guess what?
What?
You are going to be a grandfather.
That's great. Not too long ago, moments like this with my daughter would have been a challenge. It was a long road for me to find myself again after Vietnam. It was my neighbor Jim, another Vietnam veteran, who finally convinced me that I could still connect with my family and find that fulfilling life I'd lost. And I went for help down at the VA. If I can take that first step after almost 50 years, I know other veterans can too. Visit maketheconnection.net to find out more.
Wake up and get going with the music you know and love on Northwest Ohio's community radio station. Early Bird Oldies broadcasts weekdays from 4 to 6 a.m. and plays all the tunes you remember. Find WBGU on the bottom of the dial on 88.1 FM or streaming worldwide on bgfalconmedia.com. Early Bird Oldies will put a smile on your face and make you tap your feet. And it's only on WBGU Northwest Ohio's community radio station.
Don't have time to tune into a BGSU sports broadcast? Falcon Media Sports Network will have you covered with live updates of home BGSU athletic events. To follow along, head over to @BG_FMSN on Twitter X.
Welcome back to the Stroh Center on this gorgeous Friday night. I am Ben Korak, joined by Chaz McNeil, and we will be calling the first BG volleyball game of the 2024 season between Bowling Green State University and Chicago State University. Again, I am Ben Korak, joined by Chaz McNeil from the Falcon Media Sports Network. Chaz, why don't you walk us through Chicago State's starting lineup on this Friday?
That's right, Ben. You know what? We're in for a good one here. Starting off for Chicago State, you've got Number 9, Carly Clare, a setter and a junior. Then number 10, Victoria Zagumna, another setter, 6-foot sophomore. Tarsi Maya, middle blocker, outside hitter, freshman. Number 13, Julieta Sandez, a junior, outside hitter, middle blocker. Patricia Wagita, outside hitter, sophomore, number 18. Number 21, Zahara Qureshi, outside hitter, 5'10", sophomore. And rounding out is the libero, number 20, Andrea Calderon. And that is Chicago State's opening lineup.
Bowling Green's starting lineup is a very strong one we saw a lot of places from last year. Jessica Andrews, the junior middle blocker. Jordan Newblatt, the only newcomer on the starting roster, the 5th-year outside hitter. Mia Tyler, the outside hitter. Amanda Otten, the setter. Lindsay Lapinta, the libero. Lauren Hovey, the opposite hitter. And Alexis Mattil, the middle blocker. So here we go. The first serve for BGVB in 2024 belongs to Victoria Zagumna. Her serve is nice and easy, received by Newblatt. Newblatt across to Tyler. Tyler with the spike, blocked off to the side. And first point of this season goes to Bowling Green, 1-0.
And that was just a beautiful way to start. What a great kill there by Tyler, just slamming it down, and nobody was able to bring it back up.
Wagita got up there trying to block it. Mia Tyler got it to one side, off the side of her hands, stays in the new gorgeous court for Bowling Green. Sydney Hernandez, a strong serve. This one goes wide out off the hand of Wagita, and Bowling Green up to a quick 2 points. Now sends Cindy Hernandez, a freshman, back to serve. The jump serve received awkwardly, knocked back over by Tarsi Maya. That's another point for Chicago State as that one went long. That was an awkward play, wasn't it, Ches?
That 100% was. We saw that in the scrimmage against Oakland on Saturday. The Falcons are really good at almost throwing their opponent off to start the game.
Hernandez, another strong serve to the far side. This ball from Wagita couldn't be received by Amanda Otten, tried to lay out for it. That'll be the first point for Chicago State in this invitational, 3-1 the score.
Otten trying to pull that one up there, just unable. She did lay out for it, but the ball just glanced off of her forearms there, unable to bring it back up.
Almost a little bit of a size mismatch, quite a large player on the back row. The serve from Patricia Wagita is into the net. Another point to Bowling Green.
That's a little bit of a surprising move there by Wagita. She led all of Chicago State in service aces last year. She is a very solid server, so a uncommon mistake there by a pro.
5th-year middle blocker Alexis Mattil back to serve. Here's the service, handled by Wagita. Up the net to Zagumna. Tried to be blocked. Pancake block there. Jordan Newblatt lets it over. This is a free play for Chicago State. Another one. The set. The strike. The score. There's a strong hit there from Chicago State. Looked to be Carly Clare. The junior setter came up to the line.
That was a great try, though, by Mattil, who did manage to dig it out the first time with one left hand.
Hernandez receives that one easily. Otten with the set to Newblatt, and that one is wide on the near side of the court. So now 4-3 the score. Chicago State early in this game, rectifying some errors early. So a little bit of a casual game so far for both teams, but it's the first game of the year. Newblatt receives that one on the sideline. Otten the set to Hovey, the dink. That one is received easy by Qureshi. Qureshi, the spike in. That's a point to Chicago State. Just got it on the line on the near side of the court.
And it seems early on that there's just a little bit of a spacing issue, honestly, for both teams. Not managing to get to the ball fast enough, but just by about a split second.
Andrea Calderon back for the service, received by Newblatt. Otten to Hovey. Hovey pounds that one down to Wagita. Wagita can't handle it on the back row. And Bowling Green takes another strong lead.
And with a shot like that from Hovey, Wagita didn't know what to do. That one blasted off of her arm. She was trying to set it up, but just too much velocity on that ball.
Hovey back behind the line. Nice serve to the far side. Received by Calderon. Block from Amanda Otten and Jessica Andrews. Going for it again. Saved by Lauren Hovey. Keeps it in play, but it won't find another orange hand. And the point goes to Chicago State. Carly Clare, the junior for Chicago State, back behind the Bowling Green logo on the brand new Moen John Stansbury court. Amanda Otten with the set to Andrews. Andrews the cross court, and she pounds it down. 6-5 Bowling Green.
What a great setup there by Otten, managing to throw the ball up behind her head, and just enough time for Andrews to lay that one down where nobody could really get to it.
Newblatt now rotates back for the service. Calderon receives easily. This one across court, and LaPinta couldn't get there in time. A strong hit there from Victoria Zagumny. Now Zahara Qureshi will go back behind the line. That serve is long, so point goes back to Bowling Green after Chicago State tied it up 6-6.
That's another error for
I was just about to mention that.
Cougars.
A couple service errors for the Cougars, kind of shooting themselves in the foot here early. Andrews, the middle blocker, back to serve. Received by Zagumna. That one across to Wagida. Wagida's hit skied up in the air, and that will be a point for Chicago State. LaPinta back in the game for Jessica Andrews, who rotated to the back row. So now number 13, Julieta Sandez with the jump serve. Received by Newblatt. That ball is long. The spike off rip. Up in the air, Matil. Mia Tyler pounds it down. After evening it back up again, the Falcons take another lead, 8-7.
Mia Tyler making her presence known early. That's two near back-to-back plays where she has had that lethal kill.
Otten's serve is awkwardly handled by Chicago State. Now she bumps it up. Set from LaPinta. Hovey winding up. That's blocked, but out of play as Wagida went up to block it. Otten let it fall. That's another point for Bowling Green. They take a 2-point lead.
Both sides doing a great job at communication. We've seen some plays where the ball has been very close to being in the realm of play, but they've talked about it and decided against it.
Qureshi to Wagida. Wagida just bumps it up. Now Matil to Tyler. Tyler back to Zagumna. Zagumna across to Wagida. That one's blocked by Lauren Hovey, but the point goes to Chicago State. 9-8 the score here in the first set between Bowling Green and Chicago State. 3 kills for Wagida, 3 for Qureshi, 2 for Tyler and Hovey for the Falcons. That bump is too far and knocked back down by Tarsi Maya. Another error for the Falcons on the bump, and it's tied back up at 9.
Neither team really managing to pull away here. We've seen a couple mistakes, some handling errors, just not really able to get a whole hand on the ball.
Zagumna's serve is long, so the point goes back to Bowling Green. Bowling Green has yet to relinquish their lead, but they have allowed the points to be tied back up. It is 10-9 right now. Sydney Hernandez back in the game for the Falcons, the freshman defensive specialist. She's behind the line now to serve, try and extend the lead to 2 in favor of the orange and brown. Received by Wagida. Wagida to Zagumna. Zagumna back to Wagida. She pounds it down. Matilda Newblatt, no chance on that block. So now, as we've seen in about 4 or 5 points so far, even back up, Ches.
That's right. It's just been one of those games so far. Pretty solid defense, a couple mistakes. It seems like both teams are trying to shake off Russ.
Wagida with the off-speed serve. That one to Hovey. Hovey pounds it down in front of Wagida. And that one looked personal from Lauren Hovey.
That was a breath of fresh air if you could have asked for one. In a 10-10 tie, Lauren Hovey just lays the hammer in a pretty definitive point there, 11-10.
Size back on the court for the Falcons. Jessica Andrews checks back into the game. Alexis Mattil for the serve. Wagita back across, but that ball is blocked by the Falcons. The set from Zagumna, and that point will go to Bowling Green on the net infraction by Chicago State. Wagita is not happy about that one. I will say, Chaz, she has been everywhere so far. She's been setting, she's been diving, she's been doing some good serves. A very strong player for Chicago State. That serve from Alexis Mattil, I apologize, is long, so that'll be a service error toward the Falcons. Bowling Green up 12-11. 6 kills for the Falcons, 9 for the Cougars. Most of that due to errors by the Cougars that have resulted in Falcon points. Calderon, her serve to Otten. Otten to Hovey. And that ball is in. Wow, what a strong hit with the left hand from Lauren Hovey. She checks out of the game, but gets a point on the way out.
Hovey tucking that one in the left corner, just weaving it between two different Cougars. And you can tell both Wagita and Hovey are placing their stamps on this game early.
Standoff between those two great players. Isabel Lauby in the game now for the Falcons. Only 6 sets played last year. Now she digs one out of the dirt. Great job from Lauby for the hit from Newblatt, and she pounds it down.
I don't think you could have gotten much closer to the floor for that dig for Lauby, able to bring it out and at a pretty good angle, as you could see with the Falcons managing to score there.
BG ties their longest lead of the night, 14-11, leading by 3. Lauby back behind the line, but gives the point right back on a long serve. Something we failed to mention before, Chaz, is how limited the roster is for Chicago State. If it seems like we're saying a lot of the same names over and over, it is simply because we are. They only have 10 players on their entire roster.
That's right, and like we mentioned before, 18 for the Falcons, so a 8 different player advantage.
Otten to Andrews. Andrews blocked, bumps it back up. Now the spike from Newblatt is blocked. This one from the Zagumna. Wow, that was a nice off-speed hit, diving right down into the court. Newblatt had no chance. So now 14-13 in favor of the Falcons. Chicago State keeping it tight.
You can see the gears turning there for Newblatt, who went to make a cut on that ball, just unable to do it fast enough.
Both teams trying to find their stride so far in this game. Lauby mishandled the serve. That should have been had. So that will be a service error on the Falcons. Chicago State takes the ball back. It's tied back at 14. Now the serve from Carly Clare will be to take their first lead of the night. That one set awkwardly by Hernandez. She gives up the ball to the other side. Calderon with the set across, and that will be the first point of the night for Chicago, or the first lead of the night, I apologize, for Chicago State on the mishandle by the Falcons. Daniela Tomic accurately calls a timeout, so we will step aside as well. 15-14 in favor of the Cougars. Just took the lead back on 88.1 WBGU. Chicago State and Bowling Green back on the court. 15-14 the score. The Cougars just came back and took their first lead of the night from the Falcons. As I said, 15-14. BG has had as much as a 3-point lead so far in this game, but relinquished the 14-11 lead, now 15-14. Chaz, a little bit of a rough start for the Falcons, but we've seen them come back before. The serve from Clare, handled easily by the Falcons. Newblatt, a strike from long way away. This one's saved. Wagita to Lauby. Lauby to Otten. Otten back to Newblatt. Attacking from a far distance. BG needs to get closer. This one Clare. LaPinta to Otten. This one the strike from Andrews between the legs of Wagita. BG ties it back up.
Nothing you could do about that one if you are Wagita. She just sat there kind of dumbfounded as the ball weaved its way between her legs. And I want to point out a name right now. Andrea Calderon has been unreal for Chicago State, having 4 digs so far.
She gets another dig there. Newblatt across to Andrews. Andrews, a great set to Mia Tyler. Mia Tyler completes the play, gets another point for BG. They lead 16-15. You know, the star on that play was the set by Andrews, all the way from behind the back line to the net on a dime.
Seems like the Falcons are doing a good job of adjusting out of that timeout.
Newblatt's serve goes into the net. That's a service error for the Falcons. 4 kills from Lauren Hovey today, 3 from Mia Tyler, 2 from Jessica Andrews. For Chicago State, 4 from Wagita and Qureshi, 1 from a host of other Cougars. Lauby to Otten, Otten to Tyler, but that one's way long. She caught it off the side of her hand. So 17-16 the score in favor of Chicago State. Qureshi goes back behind the line for the serve. Decent crowd here in the Stroh Center today for the home opener from BG Volleyball. That ball is long, says the line judge. So point goes back to Bowling Green. Jessica Andrews behind the line. It looks like BG is catching their stride a little bit. They played better than they did before the timeout. So adjustments were made from Daniela Tomic.
And you can tell that in the little things, just kind of not sweating the small stuff, adjusting to what needs to, and that's leading to some pretty good play out of the timeout.
Diving save on the line. Claire from Chicago State across. That one, a nice play by Otten. Faked the set, went for the hit. Wagita bumps it over easily. Lauby to Otten. Otten across to Tyler. Tyler with the kill, but it's blocked. Back to Wagita. Wagita is roofed on. Alexis Mattil and Amanda Otten say no.
And what a solid front court position the Falcons are in with both Otten and Mattil. That size is lethal against kills.
Received by Calderon again, as you said, been very strong. That's a cross-court set by Wagita. But it's handled by Mia Tyler. Nice into the block. Sandez and Qureshi went up to block it. Block it right back down into their feet. Timeout, Chicago State. So we'll talk through this one a little bit. 19-17. Bowling Green pulling away a little bit from Chicago State. Not their largest lead of the night. 11 kills for each team. 409 attack percentage for the Falcons. 250 for the Cougars. The Falcons have been more efficient. More assists, more blocks, more digs. Cougars have one more ace than the Falcons. But what do you see as a problem for the Falcons? We would kind of expect them to be pulling away a little bit.
I mean, I wouldn't make any decision yet. It's the very first game, very first set. And while this is a more seasoned team, I still think there's some first game jitters going around, especially with from what we can see and what we're trying the best to explain to you listening. There's just slight little changes, almost hiccups in what's going on. There's been a good amount of errors by both sides. 4 errors for Chicago State with 2 for BG. 6 total errors. On top of that, conversationally, they're just not clicking. Either side really is. That's why it's such a close game. But we'll see one team start to figure it out a little bit more, build that team chemistry, and I believe it'll go to the more seasoned roster.
In addition to those 6 errors, there's been 7 service errors in this game. Count them, 7. 3 for Bowling Green and 4 for Chicago State. That's a lot of points left on the board, whereas if you just played some of those, you may have lucked out into points. 19-7 and 19-17 in favor of Bowling Green. Jessica Andrews back behind the line. Newblatt, Lauby, Tyler, Alexis Mattil, and Amanda Otten on the court for the Falcons. Received by Zagumna. Sandez with the hit. That one rode along the net and fell inside Chicago State territory. That'll be a point for Bowling Green and extend their lead to 3.
The way that ball managed to spin its way down the net from right to left, man, like there was no way anybody was going to be able to get to that.
Andrews again. Qureshi handles it to Zagumna. Zagumna to Wagita, and Wagita is having a difficult time with her hit so far. 0.77 hitting percentage. She's got 13 total attempts, 14 kills, 4 errors. So she's been in a lot of plays, but not capitalized on as many as you would like to see out of her. That's a service error for Jessica Andrews, but she got 3 points out of her time behind the service line. So 21-18 is the score. And set 1 between Bowling Green and Chicago State.
Well, Ben, this matchup is everything it has been promised. As while the Falcons have cracked the 20 club first, no team has really shown that they are capable of pulling away yet. It's a very close match.
If I'm not mistaken, Chaz, I believe we are also in a challenge timeout to see if that ball from Wagita actually did hit the line in any fashion and score a point. So Daniela Tomic wanting to take a second look at this one. 21-18. It'll be a big point for Bowling Green if they get it. 22-17 would be the score, their largest lead of the night. Again, we want to recognize the new court in the Stroh Center, the Mo and John Stansbury court. Beautiful orange outside, brown on the inside, white piping, white lettering, the Bowling Green logos on either side, MAC logos as well. Will be used exclusively for BG Volleyball, at least for this season, used specifically for these games. Chaz, we mentioned in pregame, I'll mention it again now. I love it. I think it's gorgeous. The interior of it looks just like wood. The players look like they're having a blast on it. It's supposed to reduce injury as well, so that's always a good thing, especially for this Falcon team that had some injury struggles last year.
That's right. It was one of the best pieces of news you could have gotten if you are a Falcon fan, especially if you're on the team. I like that point. There have been a lot of injuries. The Falcon season last year was nearly derailed due to a lot of minor to major injuries that just caused hiccups throughout the season. So to have a state-of-the-art new place that you can play, they will not be practicing on the Stansbury court. They will just be playing. But in game time moments, there's no better surface to be playing on, and that is a great sign.
Still looking at this play from Wagita. If not coincidence, last year in their 6-game slide mid-season, before or after and before their 2 5-game winning streaks, Amanda Otten got hurt around that 6-game losing streak. So again, killed a little bit of momentum for the Falcons. Looks like the official is coming up with his judgment on this play. When he turns around, we'll let you know what's going on with the scoreboard. Again, 21-18 right now. We'll see if that score stands. The point was given to Chicago State. And the point stays with Chicago State. So challenge was unsuccessful from Daniela Tomic.
Falcon fans are not happy about that call, but still a 3-point lead for Bowling Green as we wind down this first set.
Quite a decent crowd here in the Stroh Center on this beautiful Friday night. We do have Labor Day weekend. Some students may have gone home. The service from Sandez. LaPinta to Tyler. Tyler trying to get it over, but Zagumna reached over and knocked it down before Tyler could get to the set from LaPinta.
LaPinta trying to set that one up for Tyler like you mentioned, but she just pushed it a little bit too far. It was carrying over the net and not enough time for Tyler.
Sandez back. Nublat the bump. Otten the set. Across the body from Alexis Matil. That ball falls. BG 22-19. Lauren Hovey checks back into the game for the Falcons. Sends Isabel Lauby back off. So more power in the lineup, especially between Mia Tyler and Lauren Hovey, Chaz. Zagumna. That's a joust at the net, won by Chicago State and Victoria Zagumna. Zagumna's kind of making her case for being one of the better players for Chicago State.
And Ben, you just mentioned a joust there. We were talking about this off air on Saturday at the scrimmage. Some of the terms for volleyball are just so interesting.
So fun to learn. And so fun to see Alexis Matil screech that ball into the brand new John and Mo Stansbury court. 23-20 in favor of the orange and brown. It looks like Chicago State will take their last timeout. So we will step aside once more for a minute and a half. Bowling Green up 23-20 in the first set of this Best Western Invitational on 88.1 WBGU. In Chicago State, 23-20 in favor of Bowling Green here in the Stroh Center. I'm Ben Korak, joined by Chaz McNeil from the Falcon Media Sports Network. If If you want to read post-game recaps and all other BGSU athletics-related content, go to bgfalconmedia.com or BG_FMSN on Twitter. Sydney Hernandez back in the game for the Falcons. She's behind the line. Calderon receives to Zagumna, to Wagita. Wagita, a weak attack to Otten. Across to Hovey. Hovey, the pounding, but it gets blocked. Back to Hovey. Back to Hovey, and she pounds it down. Otten to Hovey for the point, and a 4-score lead for the Falcons.
Newblatt doing an excellent job there of keeping the ball alive, setting it up, making it possible for Hovey to land plays like what she just did.
24-20, set point for the Falcons. Sydney Hernandez to Calderon. Good stop there. Keeps it in the air. Across to Claire. Claire rejected by Hovey. Otten back across to Newblatt. Newblatt gets to Claire with the free ball. Nice hit there from Sydney Hernandez to keep it in. Lauren Hovey pounds it into Claire, knocks it down to the brown floor on the Chicago State side. 25-20 now the score. Set point and match for the Falcons, and now we will see both teams switching sides. That's a good set to win for the Falcons, taking the first one and setting the tone.
That's right. That was just exactly what you want to see if you're a Falcon fan. They had some adversity. They were going back and forth with Chicago State, but at the end, pulling out, getting those last 5 points, or I guess last 4 after scoring 21, and closing out a hard-fought set.
Outstanding stuff from Bowling Green. So we will step aside once more. When we come back, we'll bring you the second set between Bowling Green and Chicago State. BG leads 1-0 on BG and 88.1 WBGU.
BGSU football kicks off their season against Fordham on Thursday, August 29th. Join Falcon Media Sports Network's Reese Patricus and Caden Knapp on the call at 6:45 for pregame and 7 p.m. for kickoff. Catch all the action on Falcon Radio.
Welcome back to the Stroh Center. I'm Ben Korak, joined by Chaz McNeil, walking you through this BG volleyball game between BGSU and Chicago State University. BG leads 1-0. It was a little bit of a rough set, but toward the end, BG figured it out. Chaz, why don't you walk us through kind of what adjustments they made to come away with that set win?
Yeah, Ben, I'd be happy to. So if you look, if you were paying attention, the Falcons were struggling with errors. They were plagued. While they only had 2 errors, they had 4 service errors. They were giving up points where they didn't need to, and they weren't able to space as correctly as they would like. Then towards the end of the set, setting got a whole lot better with Newblatt stepping up, getting some good positioning. Mia Tyler, Lauren Hovey managing to lay the hammer, get some crucial points. And then Alexis Mattil getting her body up in there, getting some blocks, making it hard for Chicago State to get the ball over the net. All that together kind of clicked towards the end of the set, giving them a 1-0 lead in this match.
Bowling Green and Chicago State back out on the court. Starters for both teams. Again, we've mentioned Chicago State's lack of depth, so we will be seeing the same faces a lot. Patricia Wagita, one of the better players, if not the best player for the Cougars, has not been playing well so far. 4 kills on 14 total attempts, 4 kill errors, so equaling her amount of kills and errors so far in this game. Not what they want to see. But stepping up is Qureshi, who has 4 kills, no errors on 6 total attempts, an outstanding hitting percentage from her. Amanda Otten from behind the line. Calderon to Zagumna. Zagumna to Claire. Claire off the forearms of Jordan Newblatt. That'll be the first point of set number 2. And it goes to Chicago State. Claire back behind the service line, standing behind the gorgeous new Bowling Green emblem on the Moe and John Stansbury court. Only to be used for volleyball here in the Stroh Center. Claire with the easy serve. That one's long, off Sandez. and goes into BG territory for a clean point. BG's having some struggles in keeping that ball on their side of the net, especially on that first hit.
You're seeing a lot of high sets that go and carry just a little bit too far. And you're right, they're just not managing to get the right touch on it so far.
Newblatt with an odd set there. Mia Tyler makes up for it. Up is Mattil. Mattil finds the floor. Right off the bump that went too long. Mattil was there and ready. So BG takes one back, now down only one, 2-1 to score in the second set. Hernandez back in the game, back to serve. Gita eats it up to Sandez. Sandez, that strike is way long and into the Ziggyville here in the Stroh Center.
Great decision making by the Falcons, many of them opting not to touch that ball as it sailed out of bounds.
Qureshi for the hit, blocked by Alexis Mattil, and she gets credit for the block there with the help of Lauren Hovey. So BG takes their lead here in the second set, 3-2. Earlier today, Illinois bested Cincinnati in a 3-0 sweep. Bowling Green plays Illinois tomorrow and Cincinnati on Sunday. That hit from Claire from Chicago State went into the net and out of play. So 4-2 Falcons. I don't know about you, Chaz, but I'm very excited to see how Bowling Green fares against Illinois and Cincinnati. Quite strong opponents. Off the net, Otten across to Newblatt. Newblatt to Wagita. Wagita keeps it up to Sandez. That'll be 4 hits for Chicago State. Couldn't get it over in time. 3-point lead for the Falcons. Sydney Hernandez back to serve. I believe this is 4 or 5 serves in a row for Sydney Hernandez. Another strong floating serve. Zagumna to Claire. Claire LaPinta saved it. Otten to Newblatt. Newblatt's rejected. Hernandez keeps it up. Newblatt, this one's long. Claire tries to get it over into the net. Bowling Green keeps it up. Otten across to Newblatt. Newblatt hits it softly. Claire keeps it up. Qureshi is rejected by Alexis Mattil. 6-2 for the Falcons off the hands of Alexis Mattil.
So much just went right there for Bowling Green. You have LaPinta with that diving dig with one arm managing to pull it out. And then for Chicago State, Wagita had a opportunity to let a ball get past her. It would have probably gone out of bounds, but she decided to play it, and that ended up costing Chicago State a point.
You know, it is still early in the season, Chad. We see growing pains from both teams, especially Bowling Green because of how many new faces they have. Both teams have struggled in certain aspects of the game so far. But we, before this game, expected Wagita to be an extreme force for Chicago State, and she has really not delivered. She hasn't been subbed out very much, given that Chicago State has very few players on their team, and it's just a tough spot for Chicago State. What do you do when a player is just not playing well when you only have 2 players on the bench?
And I think to find the answer to that, you have to go back to last year. Wagita, while she was still an offensive weapon and a powerhouse, she was secondary. She played behind 1 or 2 other Cougars. Now she's the main event. She's the one that they are running a lot of their scoring through, and because of that, you can tell she's a little bit frazzled, having to do a lot of that with that limited roster.
You know, Chaz, another thing I'm surprised about and very impressed with is Sydney Hernandez. She's been in this game a lot today, and as a freshman, that's a great thing to see. She got a lot of playing time in that exhibition game against Oakland, but a lot of players did, and this is their first game of the year, and Hernandez finds her way back into the lineup. Number 1, Sydney Hernandez behind the line again. Qureshi with the attack. Oh, great save by Hernandez. Otten across to Newblatt. Newblatt tries the cross court. Received easily by Chicago State. Mattil up to Otten with another set. Hovey just gets it over. That one might be long, and Alexis Mattil reaches up and over for Bowling Green's longest or largest lead of the day. 7-2, a 5-point lead for the Falcons. Certainly feels like Bowling Green's pulling away a little bit.
you can tell it seems like everything's starting to click a little bit more as Hernandez sends another one over.
Qureshi gets blocked. Sandez keeps it alive. Zagumna to Claire. Otten receives it nicely right to the net. Good set. Claire back over. That one's out. Sydney Hernandez calls it, lets it go. And 8 straight points for the Falcons. 8-2 the score in set number 2 in the Stroh Center.
And one thing that should be noted about Bowling Green volleyball, they always manage to find the next man up or next woman up in the situation. You had Lauren Hovey in 2022, Amanda Otten in 2023. Hernandez right now making a pretty good case.
Hernandez and LaPinta in the game as defensive specialists. LaPinta before the season commented on how impressed she was with all of the freshmen at her position, which consists of Kate Eigner, Avery Anders, and, of course, Sydney Hernandez. And now she stands next to her on the back line. Qureshi with the serve. Otten with the set. Back to Hovey. Hovey spikes it over, but Wagita with another error. Now she has more errors than kills. So BG finding their pace back again. Alexis Matteau behind the line to serve. 9-3 in favor of the Falcons. Received by Qureshi. Across to Claire. Claire into the net. No chance of getting over. It's a miss hit from her. 10-3 in favor of the Falcons.
And you're right, Ben. There's a definite sense of pulling away by Bowling Green, but you have to remember, it's just the second set. This could go to 5. The Falcons, while they are experienced, still have basically 2 sets to go.
Qureshi to Zagumna. Zagumna keeps it up. Sandez to Claire. Claire tries to get it over. Wow. She set that ball all the way across court, got it right on the line on a dime, and got a point for Chicago State.
That was great touch by Claire. That one just kissed the back line. From our angle, I felt like it didn't even get in, but the backcourt judge says otherwise.
Outstanding play from the setter, Claire. Lauren Hovey, that ball is long, but had so much power on it. We need a radar gun in here, Chaz, just to see how fast that ball was humming.
I don't even think I saw that one go by. I just heard the boom of it come off her arm, and then the crowd gasp as that one was just a bit long.
Sandez received by Newblatt. Newblatt to Hovey. Hovey, another one long. That's 2 in a row from Hovey that have sailed long. 10-6 for the Falcons. Still a good lead, but that's 2 in a row from Hovey that have not been able to find the ground.
I mean, if Hovey could just aim the cannon just a little bit, the Falcons would be in a very strong position.
Hernandez with another reception. Newblatt gets blocked, but that one goes out of play, so Newblatt gets credit for the point. 11-6 for the Falcons. Set number 2. BG has a 1-0 lead. Not a lot of substitutions for the Falcons either, although they have options. Hovey behind the line. That one was left by Calderon, but it was in, says the official. Doesn't look like we're going to get a challenge. It was clearly in. So a service ace for Lauren Hovey. Led the team last year in that statistic.
Hovey was second for service aces all time for Bowling Green in a single season.
Lagita gets blocked. Calderon sets it up for Claire. Claire, her hit is long and into the student section. So Bowling Green gets another point, 7-point lead for the Falcons. The Cougars, Tarsi Maya back in the game. Subbing out Julieta Sandez. Hovey's ball is again long, this time off the service. (13-7) the Falcons. Victoria Zagumna back behind the line to Hernandez. Hernandez with the dig. That gets over. Miscommunication from Tarsi Maya. But it looks like Amanda Otten hit the net when she came down. Point goes to Chicago State.
And that was a pretty smart decision there by Maya, who opted not to try and dig that ball up, and that was the right decision as a Falcon hit the net.
Avery Anders in the game for Bowling Green. That's another freshman defensive specialist joining Sydney Hernandez. Lays out completely to try and save the ball, but a little bit too much to ask for.
It looks like she might have bumped the ankle of Mia Tyler. It looks like everybody's okay out of that, but a quick collision that you never want to see.
That was a full layout from Avery Anders from the back row after the service. 14-8 for the Falcons. The second freshman we've seen in this game. LaPinta saves it. Otten behind. Anders into the net. Couldn't get it over. Had the right power, had the right angle. But 2 of the 3 wasn't good enough.
Now, Ben, the Falcons still have a 5-point lead, but you can tell Chicago State coming back with a vengeance.
Getting some momentum back. 19 kills for the Falcons, 17 for the Cougars. LaPinta with the shoestring save. Hovey over, handled. Claire blocked by Bowling Green. Calderon to Wagita. Wagita with the tip over. Otten keeps it up easy. Bump from LaPinta. And Mia Tyler finds the open space, gets a point for Bowling Green.
And I'm going to say this right now to everybody listening. For the 2024 season, Mia Tyler is going to be a problem. For any team that the Falcons face, you can tell Mia Tyler stepping up as a big offensive attack machine.
5 kills for Tyler on 10 attempts, 5.5 points on the day. Andrews' serve is a little bit wide. Service aces plaguing both teams today. Not surprising this early in the season, just catching their stride a little bit, feeling their way through the games. 15-10, the score between the Falcons and the Cougars. Calderon, her save is in a good spot, couldn't be handled easily by Bowling Green. Chicago State tips it back over for the point. Miscommunication from the Falcons.
Anders brought that one over to the Chicago State side, with Sandez just easily managing to tap that one down, dink it, if you will, for the point.
Avery Anders set is far over the net. Sets it up for Qureshi. Otten and Alexis Matilla up to block, but couldn't complete it. That'll be a point to Chicago State. Looked to be off the hand of Victoria Zagumna. So Bowling Green will take another timeout. 15-12 the score here in the Stroh Center. Bowling Green leads 1-0 on 88.1 WBGU. Falcons and the Cougars back out on the court here in the Stroh Center. The brand new Mo and John Stansberry court, sponsoring Bowling Green Volleyball this season. I'm Ben Korak, joined by Chaz McNeil from the Falcon Media Sports Network. 15-12 the score. Chaz, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster of the game, rough for both teams. Bowling Green finally figuring it out, leading by 3 here in the second set after winning the first. Anders to LaPinta from behind the back line. Perfect set. Tyler with the strike, and Bowling Green takes another point, extends their lead to 4.
And Ben, it almost feels like we're in an exact situation to what happened last set, where Chicago State towards the middle portion of the set gained some momentum, and Daniela Tomic put a stop to it quick with a timeout.
Calderon to Zagumna. Zagumna to Qureshi. Tried to block it. Was Hovey and Mattil. They're able to. The strike from Tyler is blocked. That one had some power on it. But Claire and Zagumna got up and put the roof on that one. 16-13, Bowling Green. Chicago State with the serve. Carly Claire has had quite a day today. And as I say that, put the announcer jinx on it. She sent the ball long off the serve, but she has had a fantastic day. She's got 3 kills, 15 total attempts. A couple of other stats, 4.5 points. Nearly a leader of the Chicago State team, and all as a setter, asked to do a lot. Wagita saves that one to Zagumna, to Claire. Claire into the net. That'll be an attack error for Claire. A point for Bowling Green, 18-13.
And Ben, this is one of the weirdest statistics you could ask for, but near all but one member of Chicago State has just as many points as errors, except for Karashi.
That ball is rejected by Bowling Green. Another point to them, chasing that 20-piece, and that'll force Chicago State and Tony Trifonov, the coach of Chicago State, to take another timeout. So we will stick our way through this one. 19-13, we said, was the score. Chaz, you just said that interesting stat, which sounded quite confusing, but it actually is quite telling of how many errors we've had in this game from Chicago State, just kicking themselves in the foot. They've had 17 errors and 19 kills total. I mean, that's just, you're nearly hurting yourself as much as you're helping yourself.
And you compare that to Bowling Green, who have 6 total errors so far on the day with 21 kills, 28 total points. And we knew it would be a battle of bend and break. Somebody is going to have to break. Both of these squads relatively newer. Falcons a little bit more seasoned, as we mentioned in the pregame, and it's starting to show. The communication much more clear, less mistakes being made, and I think that's why we're seeing such a deficit grow in the second set.
For Chicago State to be successful this season, at least it seems to me that Wigita and Carly Clare have to take a lot of the responsibility themselves, and they're going to be asked of a lot, especially with how small this roster is for Chicago State. So definitely something to look out for is tiring over a few sets in a row, which is something we're starting to see set in now. Bowling Green back on the court with their starters.
We actually have a new face on the court. That's Anna Shitek, the freshman.
Shitek, a setter, replacing Amanda Otten. Otten did not dress for the exhibition game against Oakland, but Shitek looked outstanding in that game. Qureshi from Chicago State, received by Hernandez. Hernandez across to Hovey. Hovey's strike is long. That's 4 long strikes from Hovey in this set alone. Gives a point back to Chicago State. That front of Wigita and Sandez, 6'4" and 6'3". Maybe getting a little bit in the head of Lauren Hovey, thinking she has to get it over. Hernandez accurately calls that ball out, and it is off the serve. 20 points for Bowling Green, 15 for Chicago State. 21 kills for the Falcons, 19 for the Cougars. Much higher attack percentage. Alexis Mattil behind the line, wearing number 16, the 5th-year senior. Received across to Wigita. Wigita bumps it over. This is a free play for the Falcons. That one to Hovey. Hovey dinks it over. Claire receives. Across, back to Wigita. Wigita tries to get it over, but roofed on by Jessica Andrews. She'll get credit for a block on that one.
And you can see some frustration bleeding out there as Andrea Calderon called for that set, and it was taken by one of her teammates. So you can see just some communication errors.
Qureshi to Sandez. Sandez tips it over, gives it back to Bowling Green. Perfectly placed ball from Jordan Newblatt. Found the near side left-hand corner of the court. 22-15. Bowling Green chasing their second set win.
Sandez opting for the soft touch there, and that left a wide open hole in the backcourt.
That ball is long. Jessica Andrews tips it back over to Wigita. Wigita off of Shitek. Shitek, that was a tough one to handle. Right on the line to her right side.
That was a hard hit ball.
No blame to Shitek for that one. She stays in the game. Alexis Mattil exits in favor of Lindsay LaPinta. Sandez receives by Hernandez. Hernandez to Andrews. Andrews to Maya. Maya across, tipped by Shitek. It looked like LaPinta had a beat on it, but Shitek had the first hit, and that one goes out of bounds. So 22-17 now the score. Bowling Green leading by 5.
And that's just what's going to happen when you add a freshman into the mix.
Strong hit from Lauren Hovey, making her presence felt in the Stroh Center. 23-17 the score. Amanda Otten back in the game for Anna Shitek. Isabel Lauby back for the serve, subbing out Lauren Hovey. Bowling Green from right to left, Chicago State from left to right. Laube to Qureshi to Wagita. Cross to Otten. Otten the set to Mattil. Goes for the block. They get it up in the air. Kicked by Jessica Andrews across to Otten. And there they strike it down.
What a play by Andrews. Keeping that
Jordan
ball.
Newblatt capitalized on the end of it after the kick from Jessica Andrews. Maybe the best play of the day, Chaz.
I think that might be one of the best plays we'll see here in the Stroh this season. Just the heads-up awareness to keep that ball alive.
Donate some money to the Falcon Media Sports Network so we can get instant replay and see that play again. 24-18 the score. Set point for the Falcons. One more, and they have a 2-0 set lead over Chicago State. Handled by the Falcons. Across court for Otten. This one blocked. Goes out of bounds. Bowling Green takes the point. 25-18 game, set, and match. And the Falcons and the Cougars will switch sides once again. Bowling Green leads in sets 1, 2-0. We'll be right back to discuss the game so far on 88.1 WBGU. Bowling Green leads Chicago State 2-0 in the beginning of the Best Western Invitational here in the Stroh Center on this gorgeous Friday night. I'm Ben Korak, joined by Chaz McNeil from the Falcon Media Sports Network. It has been an educational game to watch so far, Chaz. We've seen some things gained by both teams, seen some problems from both teams as well. But at the end of the day, it's been a game of inches, and we saw that on that last play as well.
That's right. It was almost as if luck was on the side of the Falcons there. You have a ball that goes up and is blocked by Chicago State. Falcons managed to just send it over, and the spin of the ball working its way down the net, winding to where nobody can get it. It was almost as if you had the amazing play by Andrews right before that, which felt like it was the end of the set. They had one more point to get, and that was almost poetic in how it happened. So now Falcons up 2-0, looking to close out what could be an early finish here if they can get things done.
And what I've liked to see from the Falcons so far, and especially this coaching staff, which is now the longest tenured coaching staff in MAC volleyball, is to see different people playing. We saw Anna Shitek in that end of that last set replacing Amanda Otten. She did an outstanding job in the exhibition game. She did a pretty good job filling in for Amanda Otten as well. We've seen Avery Anders and Sydney Hernandez, the two freshman defensive specialists, fill in on the back row. Lindsay LaPinta, who split time with Alex LeBoy last year during her injury troubles, got some time. Isabel Laube, who played only 6 sets, I believe, last year, got some time for herself as well. Jordan Newblatt, the newcoming outside hitter, spent a lot of time on the front row. So we've seen a lot of new players for Bowling Green. Have not seen a lot of new players for Chicago State, but that's the nature of having a smaller roster as they do. We'll see how it plays out in this third set. Like we've said a couple times, 2-0 in favor of Bowling Green. The serve stays back to the Falcons. Starters back on the court. Waiting for the go-ahead from the referee. Actually, the serve will go to Chicago State. Andrea Calderon back from behind the line. She's been outstanding today. Quite a quiet level of outstanding. But she's dug every ball that's come her way. Been a commanding force in the offense as well. She took back in the game for the Falcons. Almost blocked by Mattil and Tyler. Mattil just knocks it over, finds the open space, takes the first point of the third set.
That was great spacing there by the Falcons. They all clumped up, but it was in a moment where they needed it. Tyler trying to do a light touch to put the ball away, unable to go. Hovey was in the spot to recover it. It felt like every Falcon touched the ball on that possession.
Sydney Hernandez back in the game to serve. Her serves has been quite good, and I assume that's why Daniela Tomic is putting her in the game in these situations for her to serve. Looks like we're having a challenge on the play. I wonder if it is a net violation or some kind of other violation right now like that. So we will talk our way through this one. 1-0, not a lot to talk about in this set so far, but we can talk about the game as a whole. So, Chaz, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I've seen so far is Bowling Green, especially in the first set, taking their time to kind of find their footing and find their bond with each other. They looked good against Oakland last Saturday in the exhibition, but that's an exhibition, and Oakland is an inferior opponent to Bowling Green. So they have quite decent competition now. They have some size on the front end with Julieta Sandez and Patricia Wagita, both 6'4" and 6'3" respectively, a junior and a sophomore, so a little bit of experience between the two. So maybe the size getting to Bowling Green a little bit, but they came out, especially in that second set, and they remedied it pretty well. They played with more confidence. They played with a smile on their face like we like to see from Bowling Green volleyball. And it was just nice to see the adjustments made, and even with some new faces in the lineup as well.
That's right. I believe that once we get deeper into the season, definitely into MAC play, this will be one of those games that many will gloss over, but this is a very important game. The first one of the season. You get to see the team that you built since 2023 come together and see how they perform as one. And right now, the Falcons had their struggles early. They haven't gone down a set yet. They haven't lost a set. But in these sets, they are fighting tooth and nail to win. And that's everything you want to see out of a winning team. So it's a very encouraging start for Bowling Green. But we still have what could be 3 sets left to play. So let's not talk a little too early.
Mia Tyler with 6 kills and 2 errors for the Falcons. Jordan Newblatt with 5 kills and 1 error. Jessica Andrews with 2 kills and 1 error. Lauren Hovey with 8 kills, 3 errors, and 11 total points. She's been a great player for the Falcons. Alexis Mattil in her own right with 6 blocks on the defensive end. She and Jessica Andrews have locked down the middle blocker position. So the call is overturned. The point goes to Chicago State, the first one of this period. Mia Tyler chasing the bad hit by Jordan Newblatt, and it goes back almost into the stands. So the Falcons concede 2 points to start the third set. They lead 2-0, so a little bit of pressure off of them. Still want to put this away in 3 sets and set a tone for the rest of this invitational. Calderon to Newblatt. Newblatt to Tyler. Tyler tips it over, trying to find open space, but there isn't any. That one from Qureshi. That one's knocked down by Mattil. Qureshi again. Newblatt bump. Shitek set. Over from Mattil. Qureshi, her 3rd try of this point, saved nicely by Mattil. Stays low as Shitek. She gets it over. Mia Tyler keeping the rally going. That one from Santandez. Jordan Newblatt with the bump. Free play for Chicago State. LaPinta over. Sandez to Hovey. Hovey to Shitek. Shitek the bump to Tyler. Tyler the strong, and it finds the floor. Bowling Green takes their first point. That was a long rally, but they come up on top.
That is what you want to see from a Bowling Green team that has so many aspirations. The ability to go into a long volley like that, not give up. At one point, you saw LaPinta go far back to go and reach a ball. That is a huge play for Bowling Green.
Serve from Hernandez is long. It's outstanding to see Bowling Green sticking with and picking up their fellow players that maybe did not have the greatest bumps. Jordan Newblatt had a bad bump that sent the ball far back outside the line, but it was saved by LaPinta, kept the play going, and they eventually get the point. Good save by Wagita. Keeps it over. Shitek the bump to LaPinta. LaPinta to Newblatt. That ball is long. Tried to get it over. Again, we've talked about that sizable center between Sandez and Wagita. 6'4" and 6'3". That's a lot of height to get over in the center, especially when they don't sub out.
And this is the ideal situation for Chicago State. You've kind of got Bowling Green right where you want them. You've got a lead, and you just can't make errors.
Carly clears the setter serve into the net. So 4-2, Chicago State.
We've had quite a few commentators' curses so far. Very small ones, but it seems like whenever you mention a team succeeding.
It always happens, doesn't it, Chaz? Qureshi serve attempted the block by Andrews and Hovey, but it stays on their side of the floor, kicked back onto the Chicago State side. So 5-2, largest lead of the day for Chicago State with 3 points. Qureshi behind the line, the outside hitter. Nice and easy, the serve over. Hovey from downtown, back to Qureshi. She keeps it up, across to Wagita. Wagita pounds it into Newblatt. Newblatt keeps it up. She took the set. Left hand on the weak side from Lauren Hovey. Wagita back across. Newblatt locks down the center. Back to Hovey, and that one goes into the net. Looks like she was going to be stuffed anyway by Sendez and Wagita. But Bowling Green takes a timeout. 6-2 the score. Chicago State over Bowling Green. We will step aside as well on 88.1 WBGU. Largest lead of the night for Chicago State over Bowling Green. 6-2 the score in the third set. BG took the first two quite handedly after stifling some of their issues in the first set. Came back, had a strong second set, but a weak second set for Chicago State as well. As I look at the statistics, 8 kills from Chicago State in the second set, but 12 errors for a negative 108 hitting percentage. I mean, that's just, you can't win when you're negative in the hitting percentage. Qureshi back for the serve. Starters back in the game for Bowling Green. Otten across to Andrews. Andrews rolls around the net, falls over the other side. Wagita finds the open space on the little tap over the blocking Hovey and Andrews. So another point for Chicago State.
Andrews and Hovey went for that full blocking attempt there, so that was a savvy move by Chicago State to kind of tuck it behind them.
Qureshi again just tucked it over the net. Up for Newblatt. Newblatt tries to find open space, but that's knocked away. Calderon to Wagita. Bad set by Hernandez. Across to Newblatt. Essentially a free play for Chicago State. And Wagita can't get it back over. So Bowling Green takes another point. Down 4. Third set, leading 2-0.
This will be a great test for Bowling Green. Down 4, that in the grand scheme of things is not a lot, but how will this team function when they have a pretty sizable deficit?
Hovey, great serve. Across to Claire. Claire tries to bump it way over, but is way out of play. 7-4 now the score. We mentioned errors to kills. In total for the game, Chicago State has more kills than errors, 23-18. But that counts for a 0.60 hitting percentage. Wagita over into the net, and as I say that, that's what they show. 29 total attempts for Wagita, 8 kills, 6 errors. So 8 points for Wagita, but not telling the whole story. I'm sorry, 7 errors now on that hit into the net. Hovey, one of the best servers on the team. Andrews reaching over, makes contact with the ball and the hands. That'll be a point towards Chicago State.
Andrews had the right idea, just a bit too aggressive on that. She wanted the putback, but if she had waited maybe a second later, it would have been a good point for Bowling Green.
You know, Chaz, in a 2-0 game, I think you can afford to be a little bit aggressive on those. Strong hit from Jordan Newblatt. Wow. That was the most powerful of hers all day. Sendez had no chance at handling. Cuts the deficit to 2.
Ben, I think if you were to ask head coach Daniela Tomic that, if every point mattered, I think she'd say that every single point they're going to fight.
Every single point matters.
They want it to be 25-0 every set.
Zagumna's shot is blocked. This one saved nicely by Hovey. Back over to Claire. Claire to Zagumna. Zagumna across to Wagita. Tyler had a chance to keep it in, but it's off the block and down on the floor. Wagita finds another kill. 9 for her. She has the most kills out of either team. Lauren Hovey chasing with 8 kills herself, but a far higher kill percentage than Wagita. Serve from Qureshi goes out of bounds.
Hovey opting to step aside from that one. She almost got hit by the ball. That was far outside on the serve.
The middle blocker, Jessica Andrews, back behind the line. Calderon handles it to Zagumna. Little tip over, blocked, saved by Chicago State, but they can't complete the save. Point to BG, now they're chasing only one.
What a good fingertip touch by Alexis Mattel. Just such a soft little tap that completely threw Chicago State for a loop.
What I like to see here, Chaz, is not trying to get, they were down 4 a few points ago, not trying to get all 4 points in a row, just piecing them together as they go. If you take 2 sets to Chicago State's 1, you'll end up gaining in the end, and you'll end up winning in the end as well. Calderon to Zagumna. Across to Claire. Tried to block from Mattil, left too much distance between the net and herself, and the ball found its way through.
We've seen that a couple times now with that combination of Otten and Mattel going up to block. The Chicago State Cougars have found a way to sneak the ball inside in front of them instead of going above them, because both of them are very, very tall. Otten sitting at 6'3" and Mattel 6'1".
Wagita back for the serve. Into the net. That's her 3rd net serve of the day. Gives a point back to BG. Shortens the lead to 1. Now Otten behind the line. 17 assists for Otten on the day, 4 digs, 1 block shot. Qureshi with the strong one. Newblack can't handle it. I don't blame her on that one. That ball was screaming toward the ground.
Chicago State still doing a good job. They didn't, like you said, let up 4 points in a row. They have just sat with a lead, pushing it.
Calderon into the net. She didn't do the jump serve that time, as she has done previously. She stood flat-footed and had a nice, easy serve over, but again, it finds the net.
Calderon, one of the, I'd argue to say, I haven't done the math, but the smallest player in this matchup, 5'4".
Wagita on the back row. Sets up Claire. Claire handled by Hovey. Hernandez back to Newblatt. Newblatt, the strong one. Calderon got ate up by it. And Lauren Hovey ties it up and ties the kill battle at 9.
This will be another big definitive moment for the Falcons. Do you step in the driver's seat, try to make your pull away, or is it still going to be a back and forth battle?
Hernandez in the game once more. Hers is up. Claire off of Mattil and out the side. So Chicago State will take another point. The Cougars fighting just to not get swept in this game. 28 kills for the Falcons, 27 for the Cougars. Much higher hitting percentage for the Falcons. Otten to Hovey. Hovey tips it over. Calderon to Qureshi. Blocked by Hovey. Ball comes over to Chaz. He hands it back to the ball boy behind us.
That was a spinning little jumper that made its way over to the media table. I wish I handled that better than I did.
Hovey and Andrews inches away from a couple more blocks than they already have. Those rollers along the net, we've seen a lot of them today. Newblatt with another strong hit. She started out kind of cold. She's found her stride here. 13-12, Chicago State over Bowling Green. BG up 2-0, and their home opener and the second game of the Best Western Invitational. Kept up, 4 hits needed to get this one over, so Chicago State will concede their point. 13-13 the score. BG trying to take their first lead of this set.
And if you're a Falcon fan, this is encouraging. Falcons not going away, bugging Chicago State despite the 2-0 set lead.
You know, Chaz, that ball on the serve was going to be out. Calderon chased it, knocked it out of play, gave her teammates no chance to return it.
And that's been a common thing for Chicago State, is they're almost more jumpy, ready to go chase a ball, while the Falcons are eyeing it a little bit more, making those hard decisions.
Sandez to Qureshi. Qureshi from behind the 3-meter line. And timeout goes to Chicago State after they concede another point. BG comes all the way back, has a 2-point lead, 15-13, in the third set of Bowling Green's home opener on 88.1 WBGU. Bowling Green came all the way back, now leads 15-13 over the Chicago State Cougars, and the third set of Bowling Green's home opener. This is the Best Western Invitational. I am Ben Korak, joined by Chaz McNeil from the Falcon Media Sports Network. Alexis Mattil, good serve. Caught it off the shoelace, was called her own. Qureshi keeps it up, is Lauren Hovey, but Andrews can't handle it on the receiving end, so a point will go to Chicago State.
Hovey Andrews, that is, did a matrix-style dive to get away from that ball. Didn't want it to be the third hit, but that was the person Hovey was essentially passing it to.
Hernandez receives the serve. Otten across to Newblatt. Blocked way up in the air. Nice knock over for Zakumna. Wagita conceding 3 hits again, going for 1. Newblatt across. That one's to Qureshi. Qureshi to Wagita. That was blocked again. We've got 3 blocks on this play so far. Qureshi to the back row. Saved by LaPinta. Across to Hovey from downtown. And she'll find the floor off a couple of bad handlings by Chicago State.
And Ben, this is where Bowling Green's defense has just fully stepped up. You look, they are leading with 8 total blocks on the day compared to 1 just for Chicago State.
Alexis Mattil with 7 blocks, Lauren Hovey with 4. Mia Tyler chasing them with 2. Jessica Andrews with 1 of her own. Hovey's served is kept in. Jessica Andrews reaching over the net again. That's going to be a net violation. And a point will go to Chicago State.
And you said a little bit earlier on in this set, it doesn't really matter is it that big of a deal if she does it once? Well, there it is again. You don't want that to be a lingering problem, but
Sandez behind the line, received by Hernandez, who has been quite reliable. That's a hit from Jessica Andrews off Qureshi and out of play.
Andrews getting some redemption in there. And the Falcon fans in the building can start to smell a little something. The noise is getting a little louder.
Newblatt's serve is long. You know, Chaz, kind of a side story of this game. Jordan Newblatt had a rough first set, and a little halfway through the second set, she only had 4 kills up into that point. And this set alone, she's got 4 kills. She now sits at 8. 1 behind Lauren Hovey, who's been outstanding all match. But the more impressive part, Newblatt only has 2 errors and a higher hitting percentage than Lauren Hovey. Newblatt, the 5th-year transfer from Marist College. Andrews, the junior. Great second half of the year last year. Her and Alexis Mattil locked down the center, doing that again today. Saved by Newblatt. It hits the antenna on the near side in front of the line judge. Easy call for him. Sends the point to Chicago State. 18-17 in favor of the Falcons. Chasing the sweep, Chicago State avoiding it.
You know, Ben, in the new Falcon Media Sports Network player to watch, all 4 of our guesses are having great games so far. Tyler, Hovey, Newblatt, and Mattil.
Great block from Tarsi Maya. We haven't seen a lot of her. She's been on the bench most of it, but comes in, makes a block, and makes her bid to stay in the game. 18-18 the score. As you mentioned, the watch-out player of the game. I chose Jordan Newblatt. Chaz, you chose Alexis Mattil. Our Falcon Media directors, Lucas and Tyler, chose Mia Tyler and Lauren Hovey respectfully. We'll do the math after, as Amanda Otten knocks that ball down to the ground, takes the lead back 19-18 in favor of the Falcons, nearing that 20-point mark.
What a dominant play there by Otten, just saying, let me do it myself, slinging that ball down for the kill.
Gita sets it nicely to Qureshi. Great stop by LaPinta all the way on the floor. Claire reaches over, knocks it down in front of Mia Tyler. Tyler couldn't sniff the ball. It hits the floor easy. Daniela Tomic coming over to the team saying, keep the pressure up, keep the pressure up. 19-19 the score. Calderon to Otten. Otten to Hovey. Hovey pows it down. 20-19 Bowling Green. Hernandez back in the game. Tyler out. Bowling Green 5 points away from a 3-set sweep in their home opener in the Best Western Invitational in the Stroh Center. That one knocked down by Alexis Patil. Comes over to us near side. Thankfully, we are out of bounds, and that'll be a point to Bowling Green. 2-point lead for the Falcons, trying to hold on. They will take a timeout here, and so will we. 21 points for Bowling Green, 19 points for Chicago State. BG up 2-0 on 88.1 WBGU.
Hey BG Falcon fans, you're here with Paige Kohler on the women's basketball team. These are my Falcon 4 favorite things about basketball. First off, I love competing. I love being able to win, and I love the winning feeling. Second, I love that it's a team sport. I love being out there with 4 other people on the court. Third, all the traveling that we get to do. I've been to so many new places because of basketball. And lastly, I love making new friends and just playing the sport I love with my best friends.
Falcons back out on the brand new Mo and John Stansbury court here in the Stroh Center. We encourage you to come down and watch a game this weekend. We have a 6 o'clock game tomorrow against Illinois and a 1 o'clock game on Sunday versus Cincinnati. Chicago State, now the opponent of the Falcons, sets across to Qureshi. Qureshi is blocked by Alexis Mattil and Lauren Hovey. Point goes to Chicago State, though, as the ball seemed to have gone out of bounds. Hovey and Mattil wanted that block on their record, but no cigar. So 21-20, Bowling Green over Chicago State. The good guys lead 2-0. Claire's set is long. And an awkward play from the Falcons. Sandez knocks it down. That'll be a kill for her.
The Falcons there circling around that ball as they tried to tap it over, wasn't successful, tried yet again, and they were, but then nobody was able to field it.
Claire once again from behind. Hernandez tries to receive it. That ball might have been long. She decided to play it, but gives the leading point to Chicago State. Timeout taken by Bowling Green. We'll talk through this one. So Bowling Green was down 4 points at one point. Took a couple of rallies back and forth to get back in it. They took the lead. At one point they led by 3 points. And now Chicago State has come all the way back in this final set. Not the final set. We could go on, but they have come back in this third set, and they lead 22-21. So Chaz, what do you want to see out of the Falcons here to stifle Chicago State and knock the Cougars out in 3 sets?
Well, I want to see the ability to close out, to be aggressive enough to just close out a game. You mentioned earlier on in the set, you don't want to see them go 1, 2, 3, 4 with points, rather have them go more methodically. Right now, you have seen the Falcons put the pressure on Chicago State, and that's when they get sloppy. That's when they start making mistakes. So if Bowling Green can tie the game here, go up, go tie 22, then start to take over, I think that will be one of the more encouraging things you could pull out of this entire game.
And Coach Tomic for Bowling Green will be the first one to tell you to take it 1 set at a time. Make sure you win each set. Don't think about what's happening in the game. You can't afford another set. You're up 2-0. So make sure you get 1 point before you worry about the other points. So 22 points for Chicago State, 21 for the Falcons. One timeout left for Bowling Green, none for Chicago State. Carly Clare again for the serve. Otten up to the front to Newblatt. Newblatt tries to tap it down. Clare keeps it up. Calderon across to Qureshi. Qureshi to Hernandez. Can't keep it over. She sets it up to Otten. Otten back to Hovey. Finds the floor. 22-22. Bowling Green ties it up.
Hernandez and Hovey there for the connection. Hernandez had a setup that it almost looked like a diving grab a receiver in football would have, but she brings it up and Hovey delivers the strike.
Matil's serve, handled by Calderon. Across for Wagita. Wagita into the net. Bowling Green takes a lead. 23-22. 1 point away from set point. Like we said in the break, Chaz, just take it 1 point at a time. Make sure you get one, then worry about the next one. Matil back again. Calderon saves it again. Qureshi blocked by Andrews and Hovey. Otten to Newblatt. Newblatt's blocked up. Across to Qureshi. Qureshi with the free ball. There's a big opportunity for the Falcons. Otten over, tipped up. Calderon across to Qureshi from downtown. Saved by Matil. Beautiful. Perfect set. Back set from Otten to Hovey. 2 in a row. Set point for Bowling Green.
And that was such a good look there from Bowling Green, getting Hovey able to get that kill. And you just look at their ability to set things up and overcome adversity. The Falcons are roaring here at the Stroh.
Game point now for Bowling Green. Calderon keeps it up. Across to Qureshi. Qureshi trying to find a point. She will get it on the floor. So 24-23, Bowling Green over Chicago State. Coming down to the last couple points. We'll see how this plays out for the Falcons and Chicago State. Qureshi serving to the Falcons. Hernandez, the freshman, to Otten. To Hovey. Off the hand of Wagita. Bowling Green takes it in 3 sets. Bring out the brooms because that's a sweep for the Falcons. Outstanding stuff from the Falcons on those last couple plays. Chaz, why don't you walk us through it?
The Falcons there just doing what they needed to do. Like we said, it was 21-22 at a point, and they managed to get all the way back 25 closing out. Lauren Hovey, it's very clear, is going to be that closer throughout the season. Her arm is unreal. The velocity she can put on a ball and her ability to close out the game is what differentiated this game from going to a 4th set. Those last 2 points were scored by Hovey on great shots, and this Falcons team as a whole just able to get everything to come together towards the end and make some pretty tough plays when they needed it most.
Lauren Hovey had 8 kills coming into this last set, had 9 going into the final 5 points for the Falcons, ended up with 13 total. When the team needed her, Lauren Hovey truly showed up in great fashion. 25-23, the final score in the 3rd set. BG wins 3-0 as they sing I Ziggy Zumba. And we will step away just for a quick second, bring you post-game real quick on 88.1 WBGU.
BGSU Women's Basketball's Lauren Prohaska, the program's all-time leading scorer, set the program record for points scored in a game with 43 points on February 15, 2009 against Central Michigan. This has been history in Falcon Athletics.
Hi, my name is Taya Ellis, and I play on the Women's Bowling Green basketball team. And these are my Falcon 4 favorite meals to cook. One is this Jamaican meal called oxtail rice and peas. That's one of my favorites because my mom and dad used to cook it growing up, so it just continued on. Another one is tacos because it's just easy, something easy and quick to make. My third one, I would have to go with steak and mashed potatoes because who doesn't love steak and mashed potatoes? My last one, I'd say Alfredo, because I love some pasta.
A 3-set sweep for the Falcons over the Chicago State Cougars. I'm Ben Korak, joined by Chaz McNeil. We walked you through this BG Volleyball home opener today on the brand new Mo and John Stansbury court in the Stroh Center. So, Chaz, it was a very entertaining game, especially down to the end. Bowling Green was up 2-0, but it came down to the last couple of points. Quite the fun game. What stood out to you and why?
I think what stood out to me the most was the Falcons' ability to come back at the end. Going down 4 sets, they were hungry to win in 3. They weren't going to go to a 4th set. Their ability to set up winning plays. You look at what they did for Lauren Hovey, managed to get her the ball as frequently as possible, get her to score. The way their defense also all came together, it was such a complete game from start to finish. That first set was, you could tell, a little bit of growing pains at the start of the season, but after that, it seemed like the Falcons were in the driving seat all the way.
Great stuff late in the game for the Falcons. We have our watch out player tallies. If you don't remember from pregame, you pick one player, myself, Chaz, and 2 others pick one player out of the Bowling Green Falcons to watch out for. Tally points at the end. You get half a point per kill, half a point per assist, 1 point per ace, 1 point per block, half a point per dig. At the end of the game, we have already tallied them all up. So today, our sports director, Lucas, chose Mia Tyler. Our production director, Tyler, chose Lauren Hovey. Myself, I chose Jordan Newblatt. And Chaz chose Alexis Mattil. So I will tell you, Lauren Hovey had an outstanding day. She had 13.5 points, 13 kills, 6 digs, 4 blocks, 17 points total. She had a great day. She had a better day than Mia Tyler, who had 6.5 points, but still great stuff from Mia Tyler. 7 kills, 1 dig, and 2 blocks for 8 total points.
Then let's go over to Jordan Newblatt. Jordan Newblatt was your pick. She had 8 kills with no assists. She had 8 digs and 1 block. So that puts her at 9 points.
So she finished 3rd today. Tyler finished 4th. Newblatt finished 3rd. Hovey finished 2nd with 13.5 points. And Alexis Mattil is our winner today with 16 points. Why don't you walk us through her stat line today, Chaz?
So before I do, we have to make a little adjustment. She didn't have 16. It was a much closer game. I did the math again. It was 14 points. So only half a point more for Mattil for the win. But yes, Mattil had an outstanding day. 7 blocking assists on top of 5 digs. Off of just 1 error. She had 2 service aces. She had an assist, and she had 4 total kills. So all of that added together makes her our, player of the week, player of the day?
Our watch out player of the day. Chaz, you are the first winner of the watch out player of the day. How does it feel?
It feels absolutely great. Usually when we do stuff like this on the radio, I never win. So the fact that I was able to get one, if you guys had been listening for the baseball season last year, 2023, 2024, I guess, could not for the life of me win any of those games. So happy to actually get a win here today, just like the Falcons did.
We're definitely happy to see the Falcons get a win here today. Final score 3-0 in favor of Bowling Green. So that will do it for us here in the Stroh Center. We appreciate you joining us today. Thank you to all those who helped us make this broadcast possible, especially Tyler in the booth who helped us get on the air today. For all BG Sports content, go to bgfalconmedia.com and BG_FMSN on Twitter. And join us tomorrow at the same time for a Big Ten opponent when BG will attempt to best Illinois. They had an outstanding game today against Cincinnati, who Bowling Green plays Sunday. But between Bowling Green and Cincinnati is Illinois. So come join us either in the Stroh Center or on 88.1 tomorrow for that. From Chaz, myself, and BGSU Volleyball, we say goodbye for now on 88.1 WBGU.
The following broadcast has been a Falcon Media Sports Network production. For more BGSU sports news and updates, follow Falcon Media Sports Network on Twitter @ BG_FMSN, BG Falcon Media on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and head over to bgfalconmedia.com.